Hello guys and welcome to my advanced base building guide on Deadside 1.1. If you haven't already checked out my first video, Base Building for Beginners, go check that out. The link will be down in the description below. And hopefully you guys learned something new here, and if you do, drop a like, comment and subscribe. The first technique that we will cover in this video is unraidable bases. Yes, you actually heard that right. There are unraidable bases in Deadside, depending on how you look at it. Nothing is completely unraidable because there is a grenade launcher that you can use to shoot at walls, but it will take a while to get through just using a grenade launcher. To build this unraidable base, all we need to do is find a body of water. So, I found a body of water just here. I've also found a body of water where a boat does not spawn, which means raiders, when they're attacking this base, can't stand on a boat and throw C4 or dynamite onto the wall. Now, when you've got the body of water, all you want to do is put the foundation just above the waterline. About there. It doesn't matter, you can build it in the waterline if you want to. But I'm just going to build it just above the waterline for now. And then we're just going to build out a few foundations. There we go. Just so it's deep enough. And then we're going to build out. That's a good size base. And then all you're going to want to do is go back and disassemble everything that you've placed from here. So we're just going to disassemble all these. I'll fast forward this. Once they're all disassembled, what you want to make sure is that when you go towards this base, that you are not able to equip anything in your hands. So, for example, going over there, I have my gun in my hands. And now anything in my hand is unequipped. This means that raiders can't actually place a C4 or dynamites on your wall, and they will have to use the grenade launchers to go through your base, which will be pretty time consuming and resource consuming. Here is a quick demonstration so you guys can see what I'm on about. As you can see on my hotbar, we have the dynamite equipped. It's in our player's hand, and all we want to do is try and get as close to as possible to this to throw a dynamite. So there you can see it's unequipped the dynamite in my hand. Now if I press... I have to swim back first. Now, if I press the dynamite key, the only chance we've got to put any dynamite on there is to throw it from here, as no boat spawned on this lake. And as you can see, the throw distance isn't very far for dynamite, and the same for explosives. Which means the only way to get to that base is a grenade launcher or a boat. This next technique is the foundation technique, where we can place foundations to increase the health our walls will have. For example, what I'm going to show you here is if I put this foundation down on the ground, I can then place another full-size foundation next to it. And I'm just going to show you why. So I'm going to put a wall here. Now this full-scale foundation is at 3k health, and this wall is at 1k health. So when they get upgraded, this will be more durable, meaning it is harder for people to get through than a wall. Now, be careful when placing your foundation, because if you place your foundation too high, you can't raise this foundation as it must be installed on the ground. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys the foundation tech in use. So here you can see that we have a 4x4 with a load of raised foundations and no way in. So we're going to do a jump up here. And then you can see that in the middle of this 4x4, we have a 2x2 where we're going to conceal all of our loot. So then all we need to do is if we wanted to put ceiling tiles or deck tiles on top of this, we'd have to put scaffolding all down in the middle of it. And then we're able to place the ceiling tiles or the deck tiles on top of it. Now one thing to bear in mind is that you can just jump up out of this just by going up to the edges. And I would just double press space to get out just to make sure that it works. And that is one way where we can keep all of our loot safe. Now if you wanted to honeycomb this, all you'd need to do is just build an outside wall and then put a door on, and then just seal this up as well with ceiling tiles, and then that is pretty much honeycombed. I also like to cover this up as well just so it's another layer of added protection, even though they can just go through the ceiling. Put the scaffold down, put the double door down, and that right there is a pretty nifty way to keep your loot secure, and you can build this however you'd like as long as you use the starting steps to build this raised foundations. Another tech to keep in mind when using these foundations is that you can place your items in the wall. So for example now, if we go here, we can place this a little bit further into the wall than we normally would be able to, like so. And then we can also place the boxes in the wall as well. So just like the storage container in the corner here, what we use for all our upkeep can be stowed away so that we can make more space in here for items that we need. Here is an example of what you can get the base to look like while clipping all of the items through the wall. So here we were able to get the metal planer a little bit further back into the wall. We was able to get the storage cupboard, which you saw, the workbench, the Jenny. Literally everything can be put further into the foundation, like this shelving unit and the crates. So use this to create more space, and it is just a general way to keep your base tidier. You can also, once you're down in this core and you have them wall frames in, you can put just more doors on everything just to make it all a little bit more secure and cost a little bit more for the raiders to get through, to get to your loot, to obviously get to your TC, to get to your boxes, and so on. This next tip will cover stair peaks. In front of me, you can see a little design. In this game, you can make little peaks under doorways so that you can see through them within your base. I will show you how to make these. Unfortunately, with the way Deadside works, it is pretty hard to shoot for these. You need to be aiming a little bit higher than where you'd normally. So if I was looking there, it'd hit the wall. But if I aim a little bit higher, the bullet goes through there. So these aren't really ideal to shoot out of, but they're very ideal to look out of for players raiding your base or players approaching your base, or if you're looking over a mission that's nearby, a heli crash. These are pretty ideal to build. And then if you want to shoot, all you do, open the door and shoot through. One thing I will say is if you're going to build this in your base is to make sure that you put a key lock on all of these, as anybody could get probably to this level somehow and just open them. So to avoid that, just make sure you put door codes on them. Right then, we're going to get into showing you guys how to make it. Before we move on to building this, I am just going to quickly cover how it looks from the outside. Here you can see there is little gaps in the base where the doors are. If we look there, you can see it's pretty dark on the inside, so it'd be pretty hard to notice somebody, especially at night. And then if we look just through a normal scope, so we're going to use the hollow here, you can see that it is still pretty difficult to see. So somebody's going to have to really be paying attention to notice you in there. And if we put on the binoculars, you can see again. You can see in there, but the visibility is pretty poor. Now that we have seen what the stair peak looks from the outside, let's start building it. So all we're going to want to do is throw some foundations down, or for whatever floor you'll be on, it'll probably be decks. And then put some walls down. Let's make a door here. And then all you want to do is a few stairs all around. Let's pick that one up because that's placed poorly. And then once the stairs down, you can then just build door frames all the way around. Make sure these are double door frames. They might work as singles, I'm not too sure, but for the sake of the video. And then you can just seal it off here if you wanted to. We don't have enough resources. But there you go. That is how you build it. It's pretty straightforward. There's no advanced technique for it, and you can see through it. So it is a decent way to give your base a little bit of visibility without using the normal methods of windows and doors, making it very obvious. So obviously with the door, it'd be obvious once you open it, but nobody's going to know that you're looking out of there because all of the windows and doors are closed. One thing that I forgot to mention, when you're inside this base, if you put down a deck or a ceiling tile, it will cover the peak, which means once it's all upgraded, this will be completely sealed and you'll only be able to see out of it when you open the doors. So I'm going to give you some advice. If you want to make another level in this base, all you have to do is look to the outside wall. When you see the outline, just press the R key to rotate the stairs and it will rotate it inside the building. And then you have this here where you can just climb up it and then you can go up here. Moving into the video, this isn't a building technique, but what it is just going to cover the area restrictions and where you can build. So the only place that I know with heavy restrictions is the airfield. So we're in the middle of the airfield and we can't place any foundation. This covers the majority of the airfield. You have to be a certain amount away. I think it's like 600 to 700 kilometers away, or meters away, where you're able to build. I'm not too sure on the radius, but I will show you a little trick now. This trick that I have to show you then, if you come to the borders of the airfield on this end border here, you are actually able to place a foundation. So as you can see, the foundation is green, and if we run to the right here, you see I'm against the barrier. I can't move in there. This is the end barrier, so you can build. And if we move to the left and we go forward, you can see that that is just now being classed as an airfield. So if you want, you can use this to make a little depot base, so that if you do run airfield, you've got somewhere safe to store the loot, and then just move it back to main base. What I'm going to show you here, guys, is just a little build that you could possibly use. So if you just get your foundations just right, like so, and then what I do to test this is I put a door on first and make sure it allows me to put the front door down. So there, that is the front door down. It is a bit of a booky front door because you have to crouch to get into it, but it works nonetheless. So I'm going to build this up and I'll show you what you can have here. Now that the structure is built, this is what we have. We have a simple 2x2 structure. The front door obviously was placed on a raised hill. This is kind of a good design because nobody can just run in. As you can see, the head height, somebody has to crouch and take their time to get in, so you can just hold them on the front door. They can't just charge into your base. Then we go in, you can see that the storage cupboard is down. You can make this base however you like, set it up to your preference, but this is just a quick clip for you guys. So storage cupboard is down. You can see that we can keep upkeep here to maintain the base. We can come up here, and this is just a little design that I made earlier. So when I showed you these peaks earlier, we've just incorporated these into this base. So it's all hilly around here, so if somebody is approaching the base, we can just see through, and then we can just open the doors and shoot them, however we'd like to deal with it. And then all we've got to do to get to the roof here is just jump across the gap, and then we're on the roof then. Building over here in this corner is a good idea because you can't be raided from a whole two sides. You can't be raided from that side, you can't be raided from that side. The only way they can come from is here and here. Now they can build a raid base, but it will be a really small raid base, and it will be just on this wall here. They can't build it on that side. The only way they're going to be able to approach as well is if they don't build a raid base, they will have sleeping bags down, and they'll obviously have all their loot in a car. But you will just be able to see everything that's coming towards you with this hill. The only place that you struggle is the tree line. The last technique or tip in this video will just be to use the raid craftables. For example, if we go into the craft menu, we go down to the raid section, use turrets. If you want to know how turrets work, I've made another video about that. If you haven't already checked it out, it is in the electricity guide. Next, you've got barbed wire, camouflage nets, and bars. So, the camouflage nets are pretty straightforward. From the side on view here, you can see that the turrets are pretty much visible. But from the front on view, they're a little bit covered so people wouldn't notice them. You can use that all around your base. Just be careful how you place the scaffolding, as people will be able to use it to climb up them and get to places of the base you wouldn't expect. The next one would be the barbed wire, where you will just need planks, nails and wire. These can be used to stop people from jumping up on top of places they shouldn't be, but be careful how you place these, as if they're placed without care, people can just jump to the side. You can do that jump, but not on this attempt. People could just jump to the sides of them and get onto the roof. Now these are good because if people walk into them, they do add bleed damage and they do tick over time, so people will need a bandage to heal these up. With the barbed wire and the camo nets covered, just make sure to use the CCTV cameras. Now these can be pretty OP, as you can place them through walls, for example, like so. So when people come into bases, they wouldn't expect to see a CCTV camera like this. As you can see, it's pretty hard to notice, but when it is looking for the floor, they are pretty recognisable. So when you're not using them, just make sure to reset them. I will go into the laptop now to show you how these work. Again, if you want to know how the CCTV system works, check out my electricity guide. All the answers will be in there for you. But if you just look at the laptop now, you can see that the camera can look through the ceiling tile and below the ceiling tile. Now these can be useful over doorways. They can be put pretty much anywhere within the base. My most useful one is this one here. As you can see, it looks down into my core. It half covers the crafting area, it covers the storage area, but then it also covers the door to the core. That's it guys for today's video. I hope that these techniques and tips have helped you guys build a more advanced base in Deadside. If so, don't forget to leave a comment, like and subscribe. All will be appreciated, and I like the feedback so I know what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right, and how these tips or techniques are helping you guys out within your Deadside journey, or just ideas on how to make the videos better. This has been Gasman Ant. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.